Even with rural land, you'll find trash in the woods. Humans have impacted land so much. I find it necessary to clean up the area as I'm surveying it. Probably should carry a bigger trash bag. I already got a bottle. But here's another thing I found. What we're looking for is old roads and access points. And what I actually circumnavigated this little dense area here and found the other side, which by the structure of the trees, by the way, I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. The structure of the trees here shows me that these have been cleared out before. You can see how there was a trunk here that grew up multiple. Now, it could have been cleared because this was a logging road, or there was a pasture here, and some trees that were allowed to grow taller were cut out. Actually, there's a beautiful pine over here. I just came over to get this bottle. It's a beautiful pine tree over here. See how the forest, new forests grow on the dead forest? Anyway, let's get over here. So there's this beautiful pine over here. It caught my attention. And this ridge line, which is quite wide here. And I know that on the other side of that cluster of trees is actually my truck. You can see some butterflies back here. And there's an old fence line in here. Now I have found part of the fence line, which may have been these trees that look like stumps now. Yes, there we go. This is what I was looking for, folks. There you go, see that barbed wire? Now I usually have an orange paint can with me. There's the other side of the barbed wire. Oh, some old mushrooms. What I was looking for is an old fence line and how it intersected with an old road that was back here. So I'll geotag this, but ultimately where we're at, I noticed that the hill goes way over the other side there, and this is a level ridge. So I do know from the satellite pictures there's a road in here somewhere. I just don't know whether it was a logging road or if it was an access road for farm equipment. But now that I found the fence line, I'm going to follow the fence line back. Now, one of the things about clearing land is that a lot of these old barbed wire and stuff, the bigger equipment doesn't really care. But if you run a forest mulcher through here, I like to spray paint all the exposed wire and pull it back if possible. You don't want your forest mulcher to get caught on this type of thing. And then when I find dump piles and stuff, whether it's rocks or it is trash or something like that, I also try to mark all that so that the forest mulcher doesn't catch it. But in a previous video, I talked about how to read the land and how to identify changes in land so that you can know your specific location on the land. Old fences are a great way of doing that. I know there's an old fence here. And by the way, when they timber the land, they tend to cut off over the fence and just leave the fence in there because they don't want to get their saws caught up. But I thought I was standing on wire. But you'll see old tops around. I'm not quite sure what path I'm going to go back, but what I usually do is I follow the fence lines. I spray the fences with orange, and this fence has been here quite a while. See how deep it's in that? That might have been a cedar. But I follow the fence lines back. I get them painted. We're not doing any forest mulching over here because we only do the forest mulching on our level contours. But it's good to know where the fences are because the fences sometimes are on boundaries. You can see that's a very old coppice that came back. And you also want to find out if there's been any agricultural dumping back here. You can see old branches. There was a brush pile here. What we're really talking about here, okay, that was my truck up the hill. What we're really talking about here is how do you get the most from your land with the least number of inputs? The first thing is to make sure you're complementing what's already on the land. Now again, some of the designs might be off. I think it's kind of low on the hill here to have a fence. Unless they're running cattle, larger animals, and they may have wanted that extra grass on the hill here. And you can see by the trees on the side inside the pasture are very small, young trees. And on the outside of the pasture, the trees are more mature, such as that pine. So now we know what side the animals were on. You also want to look at access points, and geez, I've been talking about access points like crazy, but the value of the access point is that once you clear the access point, you can drive trucks back here, you can drive cars, you can four-wheel, and you don't have to worry much about the erosion, because if the erosion was a problem, the road bed would not still be there, and you wouldn't be able to find it in the woods. I think this is another post over here for the barbed wire. And then there's an interesting mound. Now, I get a lot of questions about these mounds, and I'm not really near the tree. I don't know if you can see it through the woods there, but there's an old tree that fell over probably 10 years ago, and you can still see the exposed dirt mound. That's what a lot of these are. A lot of these are the tree fell over, and they exposed the soil, and then the soil just slowly washes back down over time. This doesn't necessarily mean anything when you're looking over a piece of land. And talking to you guys, I don't recall if the fence is going downhill, downslope here, or upslope. The key point to take away is what we're looking for is how was the land utilized in the past, how that might coincide with how we want to utilize it in the future, and then what is the minor cosmetic things. Oh, there it is. What are the minor cosmetic things you can do to get back on track, to get the land where you want it to go? We're going to run small animals on this property, so I don't really care. I don't really worry, or I'm not frustrated or concerned about having big fencing. Okay, so here you go. There's the fence in the tree, and there's a steel pipe. That steel pipe is likely, and I'll have to look it up on the map, is likely a boundary marker. There's my little no hunt purple. And then here's something interesting. There's a nail in this side of the tree, which was probably do not hunt targets or do not hunt signs. Now, I know this boundary's off. I'm pretty sure that's not the actual, otherwise I would have painted it, because from the satellites, the property goes on a little bit further. Anyway, you're gonna find these things, make a big giant list, kind of work it into your plan. You know, you're gonna find cases where there's big old rotten trees that are inside of what might have been a pasture in the past. I can see there's a lot of root exposure, so it's probably definitely been had animals around it over time. You might find where fences split. There's a couple more little sites here, but ultimately, get out on the land. Get out there and have some fun. Get out there and survey it. Take lots of notes. Draw some maps. Be an explorer. Check out the other videos I've got. We've got a lot about tips and tricks on reading the land. And ultimately, get out there and enjoy it. The weather's great. I know it's spring now. It's starting to get some green back on the trees. But get out there and enjoy the land. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. If you have any questions about what we cover here, I'm available at www.prosperityhomestead.org. Go to the contact page, and I've got free resources if you just simply ask your questions. Thanks for watching.